Hello, welcome to Chef Richard Kitchen. I'm Chef Richard Miller. Well, the cold weather's finally arrived. It's getting towards the end of January, and before it warms up, starts warming up in March and April, we've still got some cold weather we have to deal with. It was down about 0 last night. We just had close to a foot of snow over the last week. Completely unacceptable, but I'm from Nebraska. I've seen worse. But anyway, when the weather gets like this and it gets nasty, we're always looking for something a little special for our meals. Something comfort food, something that's meant for warm or for cold weather, something that'll warm you up a little bit. And today what we're going to do is we're making chicken pot pies. And I remember, eating these when I was a kid. Since I lived in Omaha, Swanson Company was founded there, and between the TV dinners and their chicken pot pies, we ate a bunch of them. And it grew on me, and it became one of my favorites. Mom made them, later. And then I think when she went back to work when we were a little bit bigger, then we kind of went and we did the Swanson thing again. So anyway, what I'd like to do is I'd like to just make chicken. And that's what we're going to make. Chicken, you can make turkey, you can make beef, you can probably make shrimp, I never have, or just vegetable. But since today's chicken, let's just do that. I'm going to start out with probably about a pound or so of chicken. And what I've done is I've just used the white meat. Can you use thighs, dark meat? Oh, absolutely. We'll put this in, and we're just going to go ahead and we're going to saute it for a little bit, and then we'll go to the next step. All right, the chicken is getting there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a little chicken stock in here. And the reason is we don't want to brown them this time. Normally I'm saying, yeah, let's go ahead, let's brown the chicken. This time, no. This time, for a pot pie, it's more of a poached chicken. So, let me up the heat a little bit with the chicken stock in here. I'm going to cover it for, about a minute or so. And then we'll be back. Stay tuned. Looks like the chicken is poached nicely. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the heat way down, and we're going to take our chicken out. Okay, we're just going to leave this sit for a while, and right now we're going to go ahead and we're going to put 6 tablespoons of butter, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to just let this melt in. Then we're going to take and we're going to put some flour in. We're going to put another 8 tablespoons of flour on this one. I'll put it up on my ingredients at the end of this video. What we're going to do is we're going to whisk that in. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to take and put our vegetables in there, and we're going to let them, start to soften a little bit. We don't want them crunchy, we want them nice and soft, but not you know, not turn to mush either. All right, now let's go ahead and put our flour in. And we're going to go ahead and whisk this. I'm going to put in a little more chicken stock here. Now, the big thing here is we're going to cook these, we're going to cook this roux down until, one, it gets all the lumps out of it and it comes into a fairly good, consistency. Number two, this also cooks the flour taste out of it. And we're making chicken pot pies, not flour tasting pot pies. There. Now, as I'm sure you can see on the detail camera, this is getting the very, very good creamy consistency. All right. So, now, let's go ahead and we're going to put in our carrots and our peas. And what I did was I just took a bag of frozen peas and carrots, and I had a few extra carrot slices here, so I went ahead and just sliced those and put them in as well. All right, now we'll put our celery. And our onion. Put in the last of our chicken stock. If we find this is a little thicker than what we want, we'll just put in a little more chicken stock. When you get the box of stock, it comes in a 4-cup box, and this is only 3 cups, so we have a little bit left over. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the lid back on here again. And we're going to bring it up to a boil. Then we're going to set it back down to a simmer. And we're going to simmer it for, probably 20 minutes, something like that. We want to make sure that our vegetables are tender. And obviously I'm not going to make you sit through that. So let me turn off the camera again. and I'll be right back. Okay, the vegetables aren't completely tender yet, but as you can see, I'm going to zoom in the detail camera. As you can see, it's boiling. And before I go any farther, what I want to do is, we've got some seasoning we want to put in here. Right now, it's pretty bland. So what we're going to do is I have a teaspoon of salt. Oh, about a quarter teaspoon of nutmeg. Some pepper. Now, I've got some cayenne pepper here too that I'm going to put in, but I don't want to put that in right away because I want to make sure that we don't get it too spicy and too hot. All right, I let it simmer here for a little bit. Now let's go ahead and I'm going to do one of two things. Number one, I want to find a piece of celery in here, because that's going to be the one that's going to be the toughest along with the carrots. It's much better, but it's not there yet. And I'm going to put a little bit of this cayenne pepper in now. Not all of it, just a little bit. Remember what I always told you about cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper is a great way to brighten the flavors of a meal. Just put a little bit in there and it'll help considerably. Don't put too much or it'll make it hot, give it heat. But just a little bit tends to brighten your food. All right. Much better. Much better. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to put the last of the cayenne pepper in. And just a little more salt. There. Much better. Much better. You're tasting it a little bit brighter, but it's not to the point where it's hot or spicy yet. So I went ahead and I'm taking it off wattage setting and I'm putting on temperature and I'm setting it down to 180 degrees. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and cover it up again. And I'm going to let it sit for about another 15 minutes. So don't go far. I'll be right back. Okay. Our vegetables are nice and tender now, the last thing we want to do is we want to put our chicken back. And I have 2/3 cup of milk that I'm also going to put in there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and blend this in nicely. And then I'm just going to give it a few minutes. I've got the oven over there preheating to 400 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and let this simmer a little bit more until the oven gets up to temperature. Then we'll go ahead and we'll fill our pots and we'll have pot pies. We'll bake them and then we get to try them. So don't go away. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Well, as you can see, and I'm going to put this on the detail camera so that you can, our pot pie mixture is at a very, very good consistency. We'll give it a last taste. Very good. It's got just the right seasoning in it. It has a good chicken taste. You can actually taste the vegetables when you bite into them. They're not mush. They're a little softer than al dente. You can taste the sauce. You can taste the spices. It's all blended in very, very nicely together, and you can sense the heat. And I don't mean heat from the cayenne. I'm talking about the brightness that it gives the other ingredients. So at this point, I'm happy. So let's go ahead, and the oven's heated up to 400 degrees. What I did was, while the camera was off, I went ahead and I sprayed my little crocks down here with a vegetable spray. And I always do that just because it makes it a whole lot easier to clean up. So let's go ahead . I don't know if I'm going to have enough for all 4 of these because I want to fill them up enough that when I put the pie dough on top of it, it doesn't, sag down and break. Okay, as you can see, the last one is just a little bit short. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that the outside isn't wet so I can put my pie dough on here. I went ahead and I rolled these sheets out earlier so that I wouldn't take a bunch of your time right now doing them. And I'm actually glad I did. Now if I can get the plastic separated, that would be something different. All right. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the dough over the top of these. And I'm going to cut just a little slit in there as a steam hole. By the way, what was my secret for the pie dough here? The refrigerated pie dough in the grocery store. That's what I'm using. I'm using pre-made pie dough. If you want to go ahead and make your own, that's perfectly fine. Have I done it? Oh yeah. But there is something that can be said for simplicity. Now you might, when I took and used the pie dough, the diameter of the crock I was using was just a little bit too big, and when I put them together, there wasn't any overhang. So what I did was when I opened up the pie dough, I took it and I took a rolling pin and made it oblong. All right, made it elliptical. Then I could go ahead and I could cut and probably leave about 1/4 of an inch on either side. This one here, I don't know how it's going to work. We're going to find out. Okay, now, the last thing we have to do on these is I made an egg wash. And we're going to take and we're going to brush the tops of these, or we're going to brush the dough such with our egg wash. This is going to help it brown up and look quite a bit better. Okay, there we are. Here's our finished product. With this one right here, and I'm going to show you on the detail camera, with this one right here is the one that was only partially full, and you can see how it kind of falls down. But that doesn't mean we're not going to get a good pot pie out of it, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to put it in anyway. So let me put this in the oven. All right, I put it in the oven. It's 400 degrees. I set the timer for 35 minutes. And in 35 minutes, I'm going to take a look at it, and we're going to see how the topping is doing, how the crust is, and see what the internal temperature is. And if it's good, voila, we're going to come out, we're going to have our taste of it, and we're going to judge on how good it is at that point. So, anyway, I'll see you in 34 minutes. Bye for now. Okay, it's been 35 minutes and the pot pies look pretty good. So let's go ahead and let's take them out of the oven. All right, I'm going to turn this to the detail camera right now so you can see them, as they browned up nicely. Now, I'm going to also show you this one here, and this is what happens when you don't fill them up right and you put the dough down on there. The dough tends to sink in there. Now, a cure for that might be to use puff pastry on there. And there are lots of people that do use puff pastry on these. I just prefer the good old pie crust on those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these sit for about 10 minutes or so to cool down because they're just very, very, very hot. And if you were to serve them right now, you're just going to burn the mouths of your guests. So let them cool down just a little bit. I'm going to let them do that. And then we'll go ahead and plate them. We're going to taste it, and we're going to see how we did. So I'll see you in about 15 minutes. Okay, it's been about 10-15 minutes, and I went ahead and let these cool down a little bit. And as you can see, and I'm going to show it from the detail camera here, and as you can see, the crust is very, very well browned. It's got a very nice look on it. So now comes the final. Let's taste a little bit of the crust. Very good, very flaky. Not moist, not dry. Now the actual pot pie, oh, very, very good. You can taste the sauce. You could taste the ingredients in there. Most of them are way in the back, but you can taste the chicken, and you can taste some of the vegetables up front, and that's exactly what you want. And if you had a piece of the topping in there with it, the dough, you would definitely taste that. So anyway, what I did was I just went ahead and I put a little curly parsley, a little flat parsley on here for garnish. Here we have it. I call it a home run. So once again, I ask you to give this a try, see how you like it. For heaven's sakes, if you do try it, send me an email at chefrdmiller@att.net or leave me a comment. Let me know how you do. I love, hearing from my viewers how they do on these. If you have a question, I'll try my best to answer it. So, anyway, once again, thank you for letting me into your home for a few hours. And I like to, I'm grateful for that. Anyway, take care. God bless. Remember, cooking should always, always be fun. And I'll see you next episode. Bye for now.